Hey Google, restart video.
Hey everyone, Scott Ennis, voice actor, Hollywood actor, movie star. I don't believe all that. I'm a legend in my own mind. Hey, you know me better as the voice of some of the most popular cartoon characters in the world. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Scrappy-Dappy-Doo, Puppy Tower, Blank and Shaggy too. And you've got the Sullivan Project podcast. Coming at you right now.
Hey Google, stop. Hey everyone, what's up? This is Harold Sullivan, and welcome to the Sullivan Project podcast. Hey Google, turn your volume to 50%. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 1:33 p.m.
All right, that's how I tell time the last couple of years since I've been blind. If y'all haven't tuned in before, please go check out some past previous podcasts. We've had guests and even some celebrity cameos. The Sullivan Project podcast on YouTube, Harold Sullivan 78. The Sullivan Project podcast on TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78. And on Facebook, Harold Sullivan period 35. You can call the show at 724-513-1472. Any good comments? Only love and light here. No judgment. Like I like to say, I'm not the judge, just a messenger. So all we talk about here is good, you know. And we appreciate if you rate or share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm trying out the volume from across the room, and so please turn it up if you can't hear it. Once this is played back and uploaded, I'm disabled as well, as you can see. So back as far as I can. This is a new camera, and the microphone had a big boom mic. It's hard to use, just all kinds of weird stuff. So I'm testing it out without that to see how loud it is. And the remote with it doesn't work right. So I'm doing the best I can setting it up. And then thanks to Scott Ennis, for doing Scooby-Doo, the voice actor. And then we have the new music, original rock anthem for the Sullivan Project podcast. And it's behind the Scooby-Doo. So listen to that whenever I play that back. So it takes a lot for me to get all these little things to work at once and do this. But anyways, so this is going to be about Superman here for a few podcast episodes here and there. It is the 85 years of Superman. It's his birthday. Well, every year is, but it's his 85th anniversary Superman. Since late 30s. And so we just had Superman, Dean Cain cameo on the podcast. So go check that out. And that was episode 100. So this should be 101. And Superman is my favorite superhero. And he was the original superhero. And so there's been many movies, of course, comics where he started, and so much other stuff. So I'm going to cover a bit of it and do some movie reviews as well for some Superman stuff in there. And if you want to be on the podcast or you want to join in on movie reviews, like I said, drop us a line. So we're going to get through a couple other things, and then we're going to do Superman. We're going to talk about Superman. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, dispensary penguins, Steelers, Navy footmen, black girls.
Hey Google,
Second,
stop. Excuse me. Dick Buckus died recently. So the Hall of Famer, God bless. Hey Google, did you just do something? Hey Google, turn your volume to 50%. Hey Google, turn your volume to 50%. I thought I heard a sound like a beep. Anyway, Dick Buckus died. The great for the Chicago Bears. So I try to mention some people, celebrities and non-celebrities on the podcast. There's a lot of them lately, celebrities, athletes. Jesus. So he's gone now, and he's in a better plane, another existence. So big buckets. Uh, the Steelers won. So at this rate, they're 3-2. I don't know. They beat Baltimore, which is one of the better teams. So felt like I predicted between 7 and 10 wins this season. And I'm thinking around around 500, 8, 9, whatever, 8, 9, 9, 8. But we'll see. Uh, they're doing a little bit better, but they always do that. They win 2 in a row, then they lose 2, 3 in a row, or they win 1, lose 1. So the Penguins are going to start today as of recording this. So we'll see how they do. The Blackhawks is their first game of the season, and I used to play street hockey in the wheelchair, in case y'all didn't know. I even went to Minnesota to play the tournament. So if you want to listen to that, check out information on that. Go view or listen to the old podcast episodes. This is everyone has a story, and you can't judge a book by its cover. And I'm fascinated. I want to know people's story. How did you get from where you're at, from where you were to where you're at? You know what I mean? Because there's so much that goes on, and people don't realize until they look back, and it goes so quick. But when you put it all together, my hip is bothering me today. It's getting that chilly weather, so I got to keep moving with the pain. I was born with an autoimmune disease. So the Penguins and the Steelers. And then this morning I had a couple visions, whatever, when I was in bed. The first one, there was 2 or 3 black girls, young black girls under the age of 10 probably. I can't move my elbows, I can't bend them, so I eat with a long fork and stuff. I smoke my bow with a roach clip on a stick, because I have a medical card to go to the medical dispensary to get marijuana, but you have to buy it. I mean, how's that? I used to be prescribed OxyContin years ago, and that was free, right? But that's killing you. But then the weed you got to pay for, even if it's legal, But Pennsylvania will get there one day, I believe. I didn't know if they'd ever get here, so thank God for that. So yeah, there was these girls, and I just remember talking to them and then waking up. But I was asking them like they seemed familiar. And I was like, "Are you from Longstown? Are you from Livermore?" I was asking them if they were from different places where I lived in the past because they seemed familiar. But so what I'm thinking is they took that shape in my dream. So I was probably doing dream work, and we were all helping me. We were just doing whatever, and they took that shape because they kept saying no, but that was not where they were from. And then I think it was right before that I believe it was a astral projection where I left my body. Is it astral? I think it's astral. And I went to Ambridge, and there's a guy that Greg knows. Greg's been on the podcast before, a friend of mine. He has a studio where he mixes music. And I've been working on songs lately, writing them, since I'm off my site. And I had a dream vision, whatever, astral projection of myself in his studio and like in his place where he lived. And he was just chilling there, very dirty, kind of like, not dirty, but like cluttered and clothes or whatever. He was in a t-shirt and he was wearing shorts and his glasses. And I remember his hair color gray and all that. And but I haven't seen him for years. I've been blind, and plus it's probably been more than 10 years since I've seen that dude. I only met him a few times in the bar, but never went to his place. But I could swear that I went there in my dream last night. And I remember all the equipment with the little switches. There was all kinds of little gadgets and equipment, like to do stuff like this, computer equipment. So that was just this morning, those couple of things. I vaped a minute ago, that's what happens. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, dispensary penguin, Steelers make equipment black girl.
Okay.
Second, blood kiss Kendall named school bomb frequency wrestling switch.
Hey Google, stop.
Third,
I want to mention dispensary since I was on that. I gotta calm down. I gotta bring my frequency down a little so you guys can understand me. Because I'll go just inside. I'm going so fast because I'm just resonating differently. Especially since I lost my sight. It's like, whoo, I'm like a computer and everything's just flying around, all the details, and I'm catching it, here and there. But yeah, the dispensary, there's a lady there I've been talking to for a few years since they very first opened, and asking her to, hey, add me on social media first, talk on the podcast, or check out the podcast. Maybe you can be a guest. I'm pretty friendly. She has very good energy. And I can barely remember what she looks like because it's been a few years now since I lost my sight, a little over 2 years. But her energy is I just love the energy, and it's almost like a drug. See, that's how love is, pure light and love. And it's got me before when I felt that way, but someone else didn't feel the same. But I'm not going to be that way this time. You know what I mean? Whatever it is good. Whether it's just us talking, it's, but she didn't add me, and then she didn't. I gave her my number. I was like, here, and she didn't do that. But then a couple days ago, she actually showed up and came in and sat with me, and we talked for just 2 hours or so, really 2.5 hours. Time just went by, and she held my hand for a few minutes, and it was literally like Reiki almost. And I fell asleep again after that. Uh, it's like when I go there, and if I just hold her hand on the way out the door, if I run into her, uh, she sells things there at a dispensary, obviously. But uh, I knock out like later on. Her energy, I don't know. It's like getting Reiki, literally. People don't believe in that. And I went to have Reiki once, and it wasn't a good experience for me. But this is like, I don't know. She just has something, seriously. But it's good. But yeah, she showed up when we talked, and hopefully she'll come back, or maybe, I don't know. We won't talk again until I go back there again. But I like her energy, and it's almost like I said, when you have a little bit, then it's gone, you want it more. That's crazy. And I never had relationships really, never been married, never had kids, so all that's kind of new to me. I don't know. I just talk to people and see where it goes. But I like her anyway. So, Kendall, last name, let's talk about that. Now, I had a dream a few days ago about the Kardashians now. In the past, I had dreamt about that, about them, and actually being in their house and living in their family. But I couldn't see me. Like a lot of times, I'm just at places and I know where I'm at, and I can visually see things. And I've done that in the past with the Jersey Shore. Like I thought I was on a boat with some of the cast one time partying. This was probably 15 years ago. So I may have been. But anyway, I was talking to Chris Jenner, the mother, something about Kendall having a new last name, and I don't know what this has to do with anything. And I don't think she does. But then I woke up, and then the next day, I'm listening to NHL radio, and there's a woman on there, and they're talking about women's hockey. And guess what her name is? Kendall. And I'm like, okay, well, that's just a weird coincidence. I don't know what it means. It's almost like seeing the future. But then when they said her last name, it almost sounded like it was the same last name that was in my dream. And even if it wasn't, that's still just a synchronicity. And I like to point that out. Look for these synchronicities every day, because then you'll figure out, you'll find your way, and you'll find out there's more there. You know. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me.
Synchronicity.
First, dispensary penguins, Steelers Navy footman black girls. Second, Blood Kiss Kendall named school bomb frequency wrestling switch.
Hey Google, stop. Okay, school bomb. Yeah, we had a school bomb call at the elementary school here in Alpha when I was probably 4th or 5th grade, maybe 6th grade. And I remember it was like the last day, and I was going to be moving because I've probably lived in over 20-some places in my life. It's been crazy. I've never had stability. This place here, I've been in off and on maybe 30 years. And then I've lived in all them other places in between and before. So, but yeah, I was going to be moving, and I remember I was all happy because I was like, okay, I get to go home even earlier because it's the last day for me, and I get to go, get to go home and no more of that school, but I went back there anyway. But years later or the next year or whatever. But yeah, it's called a school bomb threat, and I remember everybody was outside, all the ambulance, fire, and the police, and I'm like thinking, there's no way, man, like, really, nobody's gonna do that. And then here at the same time, they were robbing the bank downtown, so somebody just called that in to cover that, and I don't know if they ever got them or not, but I was thinking, yeah, nobody's. I mean, maybe people do, and now and they probably do, but at that time, I didn't feel like somebody really put a bomb in that school, you know. And the kids were going crazy. So if that was a real emergency, or even during the fire alarms, they don't stand, you know, and all calm and in a single line. And, no, they're going crazy. Sure. Frequency. Now, the other day when my Google was acting up, right before that, I saw one of them little orbs of ball light that I've been seeing since I was blind, and it just, and then boom, the thing stopped. The speaker quit. It was malfunctioning. Like right after I saw that light go by me. So uh, this is showing to me, and I've also started seeing colors and stuff that I can see other frequencies, like things that are on other dimensions as far as light and colors, more and more. So that's pretty neat. Sometimes it gets really bright in here, and it's almost so bright that it almost blinds me, and I already can't see, and I just know it's an angel or something. I can feel that. I love it. It's a joy. It's a joy that makes you want to tear up, but it's a good joy. It's a heavenly joy. Wrestling. Okay, now we got two wrestlers. A girl was leaving AEW. I forget her name, Anna Jane or Jane Card. One of them girls, a younger girl, but she actually went to WWE. And then a couple of days later, bam, Ed shows up on All Elite Wrestling. I didn't expect that. I was surprised. So they call him a rated R superstar, and he has his music, but they don't say he's Ed. He's Aaron, and his last name, his real name. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, dispensary pain.
Hey Google, delete the first one.
Done.
I'm going to delete these and hope that the video takes. I won't know until I can get my sister to help me, caregiver for me, but she works her other job right now, so she helps me when she can. Oh man, for her. My mom's passed away, my dad. I know over 30 people that died, and I'm still here. But why are you still here? Because we have a purpose and a reason. And that should get you up every day just for that. Because you don't know who you're helping, and you don't even realize it. You know, that's what this podcast is for. Too. If you need somebody, just call me. Dan did that for me, and we just did a podcast with Dan. I haven't talked to him for a few months, but he's doing good. He's got some group things he's going to, and he's spreading his light. You know, different ways. Everybody spread light. It doesn't matter if you're a Burger King worker, you know, if you work there, or you're a rocket scientist. Just do good, and that will come out, and that will create good. And there you go. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Let Kiss Kendall named School Bomb Frequency Wrestling Switch.
Okay.
Second, Pet Cemetery Freddy Chucky Quantum Leap Saw Exorcist.
Hey Google, delete the first one.
Done.
Okay, some new horror movies coming out. Pet Cemetery, Bloodlines, I think it's a prequel. And then we have The Exorcist, Believer, which is already getting bad reviews, and there's supposed to be a sequel to that coming out in 2 years. And then we have Five Nights at Freddy's, which sounds decent. From it was a video game franchise, and now they're coming out kind of late, but they've come out with so much merchandise, but it was popular, and now a movie. It's somebody in this video game store, like an arcade, and the stuff starts coming to life, or there's monsters or something in it. So it sounds neat. And then we have, let's see, we have Chucky season 3, which after the first season I quit because I couldn't get into it. I mean, there's a million Chuckies. He can put himself, spoilers, into different bodies, different dolls. So it's just too much. It was scarier when there was one, and you really didn't know if it was a doll or not. Now it's just Chucky everywhere, and he's going to be in the White House apparently. And you know, I love the actor Brad Dourif who did the voice, and I love Chucky's voice, and just the idea and they like the character, but too much. Uh, Quantum Leap, yeah, the new episode just started the rerun series, season 2, and it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. One of the better episodes of the reboot. It's just like I said, uh, it's not Quantum Leap. It's not the original one, and we don't know what we're going to get this year because they've only done 8 or 9 episodes so far, and because of the 2 strikes, they may not do the whole season. And we only got 18 episodes the first season. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Pet Cemetery, Freddy, Chucky, Quantum Leap, Saw, Exorcist, Moon. Second,
Hey Google, delete the first one.
done.
Saw 10. Now, boy, we got horror movies coming out, especially here for Halloween. Saw 10. I thought they skipped a few, but no, there was 6 or 7. There was 6, 7 of them. I don't know. One was 3D, then Jigsaw, and then Spiral, and now 10, I believe. 7 was, I think 7 was 3D, and then Jigsaw, and then Spiral, 8, 9, and then, but this one's supposed to be a prequel as well. So that, I mean, I always enjoyed the Saws, how they was, each one was a different episode, but kind of linked together. And some went back and some went forward, some were at the same time. There was always twists. So Saw was decent. That was Scream, you know, after the 90s, 2000, there haven't really been any franchises. So, and then there's Killers of the Flower Moon, which sounds like an old type of 70s mystery or, you know, like a killer, I don't know, not exploitation kind of, but just like a little town and the people are getting killed. And it's just, check it out, sounds interesting. Killers of the Flower Moon. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 1:54 p.m.
Wow, time goes right on. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember? We're going to talk about Superman here in a minute. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
I remember you told me. To Meditations comedy.
Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
I remember you told me.
Oh, that was it?
Meditations comedy songs, light language, healing, poetry channeling.
Alright, so that's stuff that I gotta be working on for the future. Meditations I want to try to bring out for y'all. Some channeling. If I can get comfortable, get this camera and all that going. Because I gotta be in the right sense to do that. And songs and just comedy I want to try to write. Because I've been through funny stuff too. It depends on how you look at it, you know. So we got all that good to go. So Superman, we'll talk about that a little bit. Superman, the movie, the special edition actually has a few minutes extra in it. There's like scenes underground with Lex Luthor when Superman's coming to get him. There's Krypton scenes, a few other scenes. So I checked that out again a few times since I lost my sight. And just hearing it, you know, and I could pick out the, you know. And Superman, I'll probably do 4 out of 5 the first movie. Rated 4 out of 5 stars. Got a good soundtrack, very good. Of course, John Williams and that Superman theme. You know, it's like a march, and it's like the whole movie was basically like a comic book, and it even starts off with a little kid talking, and he's opening a comic, and then you zoom in on the Daily Planet, and then it's the real Daily Planet, you know. And then you got that music, like it's just a march that builds up, and then you got, and that's like a love theme behind Superman and Lois. And because it's a love, the director Richard Donner said he wanted it to be about love. It's between the two characters that franchise was supposed to be. And the first 2 movies were. And he directed the first 2 movies, Richard Donner, but there was a disagreement in the second movie. They took his name off, redid half of it, and came out with Superman 2. So Superman 1 actually is not the way it was supposed to be, but they had to get it done in time to release it. And it was Superman 1 and 2 were shot together, and it was supposed to be a continuation. You see, they didn't have an ending for part 1, so they took the ending from part 2 and put it on part 1, and made up the end for part 2, which you have to check that out to see. But there is a Richard Donner version that they released years later where the director went and tried to get footage and help them cut together the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. So check that out, and it's more like 90% of how he wanted it to be. And it has a lot more stuff in it that's different. So part 1, yeah, of course we have Christopher Reeve. And it's not he's not related to George Reeves, the Superman from the 60s TV show. A lot of people get that confused. And it's close. There's one letter to S. It's different. And there was actually a Gerald Christopher on the Superboy TV show. There was a Superboy TV show late 80s for like 2 years. And the first season they had a different Superboy. The second season they had the guy, I guess, just didn't think it would work. I don't know, or they got rid of him. There was something, and they got a second Superboy. But anyway, then you have Gene Hackman. Ned Beatty's hilarious as Otis. You know, Miss Tashmacher is the girl, Lex Luthor's girl. And like I said, it's more of a comic. It's like a comic book, and the way they shot it. Then they had harnesses that they had to fly him around in Christopher Reeve. And I'm guessing for the flat parts, he probably laid down on like a plate thing, and they had a screen behind him, and he didn't have to do anything but turn his body. That's how they made him. But you can't tell where they had him flying over what was in the harness and what wasn't, and it was just pretty great for that time. The tag man was, you'll believe a man could fly, and people did, and I believed I could. I always thought, even though I'm disabled, Superman could do anything. I could be Superman. Anybody's Superman. You just got to do the right thing. And Superman, the only weakness he really had was the kryptonite. Kind of his heart too, because you could use that against him. You know what I mean, to get him. But Lex Luthor figured out the kryptonite, and that was brilliant how they put that in that movie. So the first one's about 2.5 hours long with the extra stuff, and I'll go through it a little bit and then talk about some stuff in it. Of course, the soundtrack is great. The actors are great. The writing is great. Mario Puzo, who wrote the Godfather script, actually wrote Superman the movie. Oh, okay. So Superman was created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, and back in the late 30s. And he was a comic strip first, and he was a bad guy, Reign of the Superman. And he was involved, Reign of the Superman, and it didn't really work, so they got turned down. So then they made him a good guy and put him in tights, and made a story about him coming from another planet, kind of like the Jesus story, where he's not, the only son that's got to save us. And he was able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, but he wasn't able to fly in the beginning. Not till way later. He could just jump, like John Carter. He was inspired. Superman actually was inspired by John Carter. So, just like John Carter inspired Star Wars. So, it was out way before all that. But, yeah, so Superman. So you have Superman in the movie, and like I said, the comic book the kid opens. And you have Krypton, they're on the planet, and of course you have Marlon Brando playing Superman's dad. Iconic, and he was in The Godfather. Everything he says is like Shakespearean, The father becomes the son, the father the son, he tells him he shouldn't interfere in human history, and that plays into part of the end of the movie, you see, because Superman loves so much. He loves his planet. But, so anyway, Superman's dad is a scientist on Krypton. He tells them the planet's going to explode. They say you're crazy and you can't try to leave the planet. Don't tell anybody else or you're going to be imprisoned, right? In the meantime, there's these bad guys that they put in this thing called the Phantom Zone. They send them off into space. So Superman's dad, Jor-El, builds a little ship. It's supposed to take, I think it's supposed to take the mother and the baby, but the mother's just like, no, send the baby alone. But they don't put that. They just say, we're going to send the son. And she decides to stay with the father because he agrees. He said, me and my wife ain't going to leave, but he don't mention the baby. So I'm not even sure that the council knew that he has a baby. See, I think it was hard to have kids, or something was different on the planet there. There wasn't a lot of babies, but they didn't show young adults anyway. In Man of Steel, though, they got into that more and they changed it a little. But anyway, the little baby gets in the ship with a crystal that has information and pretty much the brain of Jarrell in it, and sends it to Earth. And when he gets here, he's like 5 years later, he's a baby, or he's a toddler. And an old couple find him on the road, and then after he crashes, and they don't have kids, so they take him and they raise him. And the father dies, the Earth father. And the boy says, "Hey, I gotta leave. I gotta go. There's better things for me." And the mother said, "We always knew this was coming." So he goes to the city and gets a job as a reporter, figuring he can he'll be near stuff when it happens. And that's where he meets Lois Lane, and stuff happens, And then we got later on, Lois does a story on Superman after Superman saves her when her helicopter's going to crash, and he says that I came from a planet, yada yada. I can't see through lead. He gives up all the, and that's where Lex Luthor, Criminal Mind, is like, okay, well, let me get some lead. Let me find some piece from his planet that might have landed here. It may be toxic to him, and let me take him out the picture, because he's just a Boy Scout that's going to save everyone. And Lex launches a couple missiles, figuring Superman can't stop them both. And Lex wants the real estate of California, so he buys up all the real estate and wants to crash a missile there, so all his real estate is worth money. And then we go into Superman goes to get Lex, and he opens the box, and there's a kryptonite. Superman gets sick, and of course the girl, Miss Teschmacher, her mother lives in one of the places where the bomb's going to go, one of the bombs. So she says, "I'll free you, but you got to go get my mom first, because you don't lie, and I know you'll tell me the truth." So he agrees. So Superman goes and saves that place first, and then Jimmy, and then Lois last, but Lois dies. Spoiler. But then Superman goes and flies around the world and goes back and turns the world backwards, and he goes to save Lois somehow. But that was the original end for part 2. Like I said, lots of editing, but a good movie anyway. And I give it part 4, or I give it a 4 out of 5. So, lots of rambling on there. Hopefully y'all understood that. But I want to say I love y'all, and we'll be back again shortly. And tune in. If you have any suggestions, I'm just trying to get this camera going. Hopefully you turn it up if you couldn't hear me well. It's a little late now. I didn't mention it, but praise always. Everything is always for something. Everyone can't be fixed, but they can all be saved. What else here we got? You got to forget to remember who you are. You got to forget everything you learned to remember who and what you really are. The key is forgiveness. And these are just some Sullivanisms. Oh, crap. So we'll be back.